Okay. So, so yesterday we discussed about the select queries. We started discussion about the select queries execution. So whenever we are executing the select queries, generally we'll get result set, right? So from the table, we will get the result set. And at the same time, whenever we want to transfer that results to another method or another object or another class, whatever it is, so can we transfer the same result set in the JDBC? Is it possible? Anyone tried? No, right? So don't try. So even I am telling the things, don't try. Okay. Okay, fine. Okay. So even whenever we want to transfer the results or whatever it is, we will try to make sure result set is converted to the respective collection objects, and then we can utilize that collection objects wherever you want. Okay, whatever the purpose you want, that the data which is loaded from the database, okay, we can transfer it, we can use it, okay, based on the, sorry, what it is, collections object. So now, and after that, in case if it is Spring JDBC point of view, so the entire logic, generally whatever we discussed in yesterday, like JDBC point of view, what we are doing generally result set, once we are getting the result set, we are iterating the result set, we are extracting one by one column value, and we are setting into a POJO class object, and finally that object is added to the array list or maybe a collection object level, right? So instead of that, what JDBC is doing, they are taking care of all this conversion from result set to respective collection object. So they taken care of everything. They've overridden all the logic and they just provided in the abstraction point of view. Okay, they provided all predefined methods and predefined functionalities. Only thing is we just need to make sure, so which whatever the table you are executing and whatever the results that you are trying to map, for that you need to create a POJO class, and that a POJO class should contain what are the things you have to follow when you are creating the POJO class. There are few things we have to follow. One is column names, sorry, database column data type should match to the equivalent Java data types. So if it is their numeric value, here integer value or long value. In case there you given float value, here also either double or float value you have to take. If you given varchar there, here equivalent in string is varchar2 is in Oracle. Then equivalent data type in string in Java is string is the equivalent, right? So similarly, so you have to compare the data what you are passing to the database table level, data types what you define in the table level. So same kind of data types you have to define as part of your POJO class level. So that is one thing. Second thing is you just need to make sure column names and as well as our Java property names. Property names in the sense what the variable names, the instance variable names, what you are defining. Okay, like whatever the instance variables you define, and for those instance variables, you are going to create setter getter methods, right? So the entire thing will be called as generally a property in a POJO class terminology, right? So the instance variable names, what you are defining, those should equivalent to the column names of the table, column names of the table. Then internally, whatever the result set received by the Spring JDBC, it will take our POJO class object from this proper row mapper class. So being property row mapper class, whatever the class we given to the JDBC, Spring JDBC internally, what it will do, it will pick up this class and it will create an object and it will get one by one value from the result set. It will try to keep inside this object, and these objects are added to the list, and finally list is coming. Finally list is returning to the logic level. So then that's why we are receiving the list of values here, and the method return type is list of values here it is. So you guys are clear with this? You tried this example at least? Are you created your own POJO class based on your table and everything? Okay. So this is what one thing. I will give you one small assignment. Okay. I think it's there in material also. You just try on it own. It's not a big deal. For example, my assignment here it is. I have table column names like this. I'll give table name also. Assume order underscore detail. This is table name. Okay, under this table, column names I'm giving you. Order underscore detail underscore ID. Order detail underscore ID. So after that, email underscore ID. Order status. Order amount. I'll give you one more, two other columns also. No, these are all things from my project only. That's why I'm just thinking which is feasible. Okay. Is order placed. So what you have to do here, it is little bit, okay, so small, little bit difficult only, not difficult. It's not that much difficult also. I'm just giving the data types also here. You just explore based on your data, okay, database, and try to compare your database things as well as your Java learning, whatever you guys are having, whatever the rules we know. Okay. So it's a little bit concentration you have to keep on this assignment. It's not like directly straightforward, like you're going to replace a class name here, and inside the class name, you're going to give the property names. Small time you have to spend on this, but if you're doing this, then good. Okay, let's do one thing. Even I'll give you, this should be number. This is a primary key column, and this is a string value. So in database perspective, whatever you want to take, you can take it up. Varchar or number or whatever it is. So similarly, email also represents string. Order status also string. Order amount, you just take some float value, or this is Boolean tag. See, I given here only with respect to Java oriented, but when you are creating the table with this name, with these columns, based on database data types, you can take number 10, number 10 comma 2, something like that you can take. Okay. This is fine. Okay, I'll give one more contact number also. Long contact number also. Okay, so these are the columns you guys are having. First thing is what you have to do, insert data. So you know that how to insert data now, right? Simply insert query once you are creating the table. That's fine. Second thing is insert couple of records. Even you know how to do update as well as delete also. It's not my actual assignment. It is straightforward. When it comes to select query, so here actually what you have to do here it is. So assume okay, so I have database columns like this, and I have to create respect to, okay, whenever you want to load all the orders from the order table, So how many columns you have? Total 6 columns you have. And what is my column name here? Email and order underscore order. I given, if you observe here or not, I given what? ORDR, not complete order word here, right? So in database generally, when we are defining the tables in real-time oriented or mostly, when people are trying to give the entire full word, they will try to make it as a shortcut word. Okay, because in database level column names, generally they will try to keep as much as, okay, very small length variable name, column names. So that's why generally if you take this is also a table name in my project, ORDR underscore details. So that means order details. So like this, people will try to write column names or table names as much as possible in a shortcut format. That's how people will follow in database. So my point here it is, even I want to keep your column name as it is. Okay, even this one also, status representing STS. You have to keep your column names as it is. But when it comes to the select query point of view, and whatever the result, I need to get everything as a list of records. I'll give you some criteria here. A list of records you will get. Then how we are going to define your Java Pojo class in this case. So for example, you have to define order detail ID property name in Java class. What is the data type? I already given here itself string, maybe a string, that's fine. But what about the column name? So are you going to give directly like this? Can I give as per Java rules and regulations? Now, as per Java naming conventions. So this is all about which naming conventions? Database rules, naming conventions, guidelines we are followed here. As per SQL guidelines, as per database guidelines, naming conventions, standards, we followed here, that's fine. So here we are satisfied with database guidelines. When it comes to data Java level, so is this the variable name is never ever suggested by the Java? So how Java is going to suggest us the variable names? Like when you are having multiple words, you have to give complete words actually you have to give. You should not use most of the times shortcuts like OR, DR, all these things. As much as possible, we have to give a clear words in the variable names, class names, instance names, method names, all these things, right? So in this case, for example, I given order detail ID. Order detail ID I given like this. So now this is what my variable name, which is representing this column. Okay, so is it a good valid? See, when you given this one also as a variable name, your Java program is going to work or not? Yes, it is going to work. It's not like the Java is not going to stop. So then, but still, when we are writing a good programming, when you are writing a real-time programming oriented, so as per Java standards, as per Java naming conventions, you should not use always underscores and all. In variable names, we should not use underscores. We have to define always in a camel case format, like first word, second word, third word, without any symbols. You have to define the things most of the times. Similarly, but when you open any database, most of the times every word is separated by underscore. That's what the standards people will follow in SQL level. Now, how can you define your variable names in Java? Okay, you prepared like this. Now, is equal to this name? Variable name is equal to column name now? No, completely different. Even you are having here DTL, here you have detail. So internally there is no, we cannot say like this is equivalent to this name. Then how your mapping is going to happen in this scenario? So this is what actually your assignment here. So how then you want to make sure everything again in one line, and at the same time how row mapping is going to happen by default into the JPL level. So JDBC is going to understand, okay, order detail ID value I have to move in this. So is it automatically Spring JDBC is going to understand? No. So for that purpose, what you have to do is very simple thing. You will define a class first of all, right? You will define a Pojo class. For example, this is what the Pojo class you define. Order details. Okay. So what you have to do here it is, your assignment is implements row mapper. So what is that? So your Pojo class is implementing an interface of row mapper interface. Okay. So if you see here, so what is this interface row mapper? Okay. Yeah, this one. So what is this? Second parameter, row mapper, right? But when it comes to row mapper, I will show you. Row mapper from the Spring JDBC. Okay, so what it is? Interface. What is this? So now you got one more interview question or not? So this is what the advantage of opening the source codes. So now anyone else asks you, do you know any predefined functional interfaces in Spring? As of now, you know anything? No. But today, you know what it is? Row mapper. What is the functional interface again? Only one abstract method. That's a different story, right? So, but you know one point you came to know that or not? So yes, it's a functional interface. Now understand the Java 8 features importance. Okay, with respect to your Spring also. See, they are using Java 8 features here also or not. So that's why please be strong in the core. Okay, Java 8 features. Okay, fine. What is this? Macro. So what is this? Result set. So this is what result set actually we are getting in our JDBC also, regular JDBC or our Java JDBC level. So that means what you have to do here it is, so whenever it is a functional interface, so you have to override this method or not. When you are implementing from this class, our own Pojo class level, what you are doing? You are implementing the interface. So implementing in the sense what you have to do? Override the abstract method. What it is? Macro. So here T representing what? Type. So that means any data type. Like today it might be order detail, tomorrow student, product or whatever it is. So only thing is what you have to do. Every data. So here you need to override the method macro, and inside this method you have to write down one small logic. Okay, you guys are getting what I'm trying to say now. So you need to inform to the Spring JDBC, hey JDBC, in the result set point of view, whatever the column you are going to head. So in the result set, inside result set, you are going to have this column name or not? Actually, result set will always contain table column names. So you need to tell to the JDBC, inside the result set, whenever you are finding this column value, column name and value, it has to move to which variable? This variable. So like that, you have to write down some set to get kind of logic you have to write down. That's all you have to do. So this is what is your assignment here. So that means what is the overall assignment here? It is when you are having different column names and different property names in your Pojo class, the mapping is going to happen by default? No. So then what you are doing? You are writing your own row mapper class. You are just writing the own row mapper class, and then what you will do? Give me a second. Yeah, sorry. Okay. So you guys are understanding now? So this is what we are just configuring internally. The column name value has to move to this Java level property. So like that, you are making some small logic implementation here. Now, when you are writing your logic again, what you are going to do now? So now, whenever you are writing this logic, same logic you will write down. Select star from order underscore detail. You will write down. So inside this order details, you will pass here also order details you will pass. But what is the one extra thing we did? This Pojo class, inside this Pojo class, you given all the row mapping information also. Now assume out of one column, okay, and one make sure one column is really matching to the Java property name also. Then do we need to really give information? So when both are matching same variable name, same column name. So for example, my column name is email and my property name is also email. So in this case, do I need to give anything? So those kind of things you have to take care. Here it is. You guys are understood? It's not that much difficult assignment also. Okay. It's very simple. I know that. It's only thing is I given already solution. Here you are going to write down some logic. That's all. That too what you are doing. Or result set dot get column name, something you have, and then set of order detail ID. Like that. So simply you will create object for this and order dot set order detail ID, rs dot get column name, something like that. You have to write some logic. You just explore it. Then your logic will work. So is that okay? Or you guys will take care? So you guys have to take care this kind of small things. Otherwise, you cannot get your own practical knowledge if you are teaching everything. And that too, I given an entire code snippet also to you. So what you have to do, only 3 to 4 lines logic you have to write down here. Okay, please take this as assignment. Then you are good with the Spring JDBC. Okay, so fine. Now let me take one more small requirement here, and then we will close the Spring JDBC. And anyway, these are all things will not happen in any real-time project. But this knowledge, whatever the row mapping knowledge you are going to do now, see, if I am given here this assignment, little bit difficult assignment in the sense, I have a plan. That means in future, there is a concepts coming in JPA module level. So this assignment will help you there to understand very easily. So that's why by intentionally I given this assignment today. So you just do manual works today with this assignment, spend some time, and automatically in JPA level, we have some concepts, something like object relational mapping, ORM concepts. So there, this functionality will help you what's happening internally and all. You guys will understand automatically. So that's the purpose I given this. Otherwise, I can write down, instead of explaining all these assignment, I can write down code within 2 minutes. I can close that, but intentionally I given. So please take care, spend your time, and don't ask me. And don't come back to me and ask me, Sarah, this is not working. What I have to do? It's up to your wish. Your manager never ever help you to write down the code. He will give you the work. He will say like die on your own, but you have to complete the work. Okay, so that means it's up to your responsibility. How you are achieving all these logics, you are struggling with you are finding information. See, that is what people will say like artificial intelligence, chat GPT, all these things. This is where you have to use the artificial intelligence, getting the solutions, knowing the things, internal things. This is where chat GPT, artificial intelligence is helping us. It's improving the productivity of developer. It's not like it is replacing the developer. You got the point here. Artificial intelligence is always improving the productivity, not like replacing the entire humans. Okay, it's not like it is going to replace the developers, but it is going to improve the productivity. So that means when you are learning, also try to utilize the artificial intelligence as part of your learning to improve your skill set, to improve your knowledge. Okay, so that is what you have to do always. Even when we are practicing, also see. Even whenever I'm just making my own preparation notes or whatever it is, I will always use ChatGPT. It's not like that I'm not going to use. See how many things I'm going to take care from the ChatGPT. So this is where you have to use the artificial intelligence. No need to be afraid about the artificial intelligence, how it is going to replace you. You have to be afraid about you are able to utilize the latest things, whatever coming into the society. By using those things, you have to move on step by step. That's what the reality of artificial intelligence. Okay, so whenever I'm just making few other things, learning point of view, notes point of view, or maybe whatever it is. So see, these are all questions I used to always asking the chat GPT. I'm getting my knowledge. So this is where you have to utilize what? The artificial intelligence things. Don't afraid about the artificial intelligence. The people will fail here it is people who are having good knowledge of utilizing the things coming into the market. They will be always one step ahead. So adopt the things which are coming into the market. But by seeing those things, never ever afraid. Okay. But you have to, you should have to get a knowledge how to utilize those things, how much you are going to utilize those things, and how you are going to make sure the productivity. For example, I have a lot. I have yesterday one request. Okay, requirement I got. Even you can take this one. This is what I implemented yesterday. I have a string, and in the string I will get 10 digits always. So I have to make sure count of digits is always. So this is what I written yesterday in my code. Count of digits is always 10 digit in that string. Then I have to return true. Otherwise, false. So that means they taken phone number as a string data type. Okay. So for example, if it is yes, he entered like this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 7, 8, 9, 0. So is it a valid number now? Is it a valid? How do you say no? What is the question here? Count of digits is 10. So how many count digits are there? Then how will you say like no? That's what. Please observe the requirement always. Don't say immediately an answer. Okay, take some time. Even interviews also. So sometimes what will happen? The interview panel will ask off question. In the last half, you is going to give some small criteria. By the time you will not listen, you will feel like this question I know. So immediately you start the answer. So please observe here. Count of digits is always 10. I told you only count of digits, not like length of string. If I am saying like length of string is 10, then you have to say like no. Count of digits is always 10. So how we are going to write down this logic? No for loops, nothing. Within 1 or 2 lines, you can write down this logic. Within 1 line, not even 2 lines also, within 1 line. So anyway, you can just take it up. Okay, this is what I implemented. Even see, sometimes that's what I'm telling you. Even I just taken same thing from the chat GPT. Okay. So these guys are giving what kind of, I think here. Even these guys are also written for loop. But for loop is not accepting nowadays by any team leads or any managers in your source code. You have to utilize always most of the times what? Java 8 futures. Okay. I will give you the solution. Do you know Stream API? So what you have to do is, this is a string data type, right? You have to convert this as a char string. Okay. And then inside that, you have a class filter method you have to use. Once you are converting to this stream, okay, char array and then stream, somehow you need to convert it as a stream object. You just find out it. And then you have to utilize a method called as filter method. Filter method is what? It is going to filter the results based on the condition. Condition in the sense internally predicate you have to pass something. Okay. So here you have a class called as character and there is a method called as isDigit. Okay. IsDigit is a method you have. And dot finally count equal to 10. That's all. So if every character will be filtered and it is checking is it a digit or not. If it is digit true, then count is taking into the picture. So like that, count 1, 2, 3 like that. So now if I given, so like this, is it a valid? Is it true or false? False. Only 9 numbers. So this is what the logic you have to write down. So no regular for loops. That's what I'm telling you every day. Nobody is accepting. No one is accepting nowadays the regular for looping programming. You have to understand the importance of Java 8 features. This is what I written yesterday. Even to write down this, to find out this, even it took for me half an hour to 40 minutes to find out this feasible solution. When you are going to the chat GPT and all, so that's what I'm telling you. Chat GPT, so a lot of people will think like chat GPT is giving entire code. Yes, it is giving. I'm not saying like it's not giving. But is this the code This is very legacy code, I can say. ChatGPT will never ever give you always the right information or the right code or the current standards what industry is following. So as a human, it's our responsibility identifying what industry is following. Based on that, you have to prepare. Based on that, you have to take it. So is this really ChatGPT is helping in the sense? Yes, it is some up to some extent it is helping the artificial intelligence, but not 100%. Okay. So then once I return this solution, then this is what I accepted by the team. This solution. But if you return regular for loop, you will iterate. I will take character array. I will iterate equal to, I will write down. So no, this is all simply came in one line. So please understand the importance of Java 8 features. It's very heavily using, heavily. So this is what I written yesterday. That's what I'm telling you. Okay, fine. Even you just make it as interview question or whatever it is. You just try. Okay, so here let's come back to the JDBC. I don't want to discuss. For example, if I have where classes in the select query, what you have to do now? So that means where classes in the sense conditions, column names you will give. So positional parameters we have. So then how we are going to manage select query with the positional parameters? So that is what my requirement here it is. I'll close with this requirement. Okay. Load employees information. Load employees information where based on or something like based on. So what are the columns we have? I forgot it. Employee ID, names, email, salary. Based on salary. Okay, so this is what you have to implement. If you are passing a salary value, so whoever is matching to that salary, you have to load the employee details. So how we are going to write down for this select query? So generally, if is the select query, how you are going to form? Where? So your column name, it might be salary. So that's why yesterday we take an underscore, but it's not a good practice with respect to Java programming language. So database point of view, database guidelines we have to follow. Java programming language, we have to follow Java programming rules and regulations. Salary equal to, can I pass value like this? Positional parameter. So how you are going to manage this logic? See here. Very simple. Just what you have to do now? Identify the overloaded method where you are going to pass the positional parameters also. Public void load employee details by salary. See, and one more thing I am telling you, maybe people whoever are freshers here, however I am writing the method names, however I am writing the variable names, however I am writing the package names, try to follow same standards as it is. Okay. So because the reason is, I can see people are coming up with laptops, and whenever I am observing their class names, their method names, their variable names, even though I'm teaching from last 1.5 months, and I'm keep on shouting like, please take care of all these standards in your practice, I can see still people are writing variable names like, okay, like EID, ename. No, don't do that. Please make sure a meaningful variable names, meaningful class names like this. JDBC template, load all employees, load details. See, by seeing this method name itself, you have to understand what functionality internally is implemented, right? So that is how you have to write down the method names and everything. Load employee details by salary. So this method name itself telling internally what we are going to implement. That's how your method names should represent what functionality it is written inside that. You should not simply write something like buy salary. What is the meaning of buy salary? What you are doing with salary? So don't write that kind of method names and all. It's not good. Okay, so in this case, same, just let me make here same query. Here what I'm going to pass, where salary equal to positional parameter you have to pass, right? So then how you are going to pass values to this positional parameter? Observe, is there any predefined method available or not? Okay, JDBC template. If you see here, query string SQL comma object array arguments. Okay, so I mean array of arguments and followed by the row mapper concept, right? So can we use this now? Or can we use this? Can we use this now, right? You have row mapper. Third parameter is what? Arguments. So that means passing, third parameter is representing passing values to the positional parameters. So let's take, that means already you have two parameters. Overloaded method one we are using. And what is the value of salary here? I will make, so what is the data type of salary? Double, right? I mean, it is a floating value. First parameter, second parameter, third parameter is, I will define here, double salary. Same previous example only, but nothing much. So is it enough now? So first value is going to the first positional parameters. Tomorrow, in case if you have and something city or whatever you have other columns, then comma second positional parameter value, whatever you want to pass like city name and all, you can pass here. Okay, let's execute it now and see you are going to get data based on the salary or not. So before that, let's observe in employee table. So we have 6 employees here, and I would like to see the employee 2 information. So that means I have 2 lakh value here. So let me give that value. So I'm going to call this method from the main method in a flow. So I have employee operations object dot load employees by salary. So here salary value I'm passing like 2 lakhs. Okay, now this 2 lakhs value come here and it is going to pass here. That means here finally which value you are passing? 2 lakh value here passing. So and finally what is the value you are expecting? So is it, are you going to get always only one record in this case? Maybe in our database table I have one record, but if I modify it, so employee 5 salary also 2 lakhs only. From here also you can modify the table data, like instead of you're writing the update query. But don't do that. You guys will lose SQL knowledge. So now what is the, how many employees are available with 2 lakh salary? 2 employees are available. One is 2, one is 5. Right? So we need to get 2 records now. So termination, I mean execution is completed successfully. But we are not printing, right? How do we know that whether it is loaded or not? So what you can do, we need to print it, then only we can come to know that. Otherwise, can we, do you know what is the meaning of for each? What is the meaning of for each? Is it a loop? Is it a loop? It's a method, right? So how can you, if I want to print the employee details one by one, what I have to do now? Sorry? Only system.out.println? Yeah, you just need to take some, I mean, it's again Java concept. Yeah. So you got two records or not? Employee 5, employee 2, whose salary is matching to the 2 lakhs. Okay, is it loading the data or not? So that's how you have to pass the argument values, I mean positional parameter values. By taking a predefined method, you can simply pass the positional parameter values also. So you guys are clear now how Spring JDBC is working internally and how Spring JDBC is making our productivity is okay. Very, I mean, making our productivity is high. So you guys are clear now. So internally it is using what again? The regular Java JDBC API only, but they simplified the JDBC API and released it as a Spring JDBC module. So I'm okay. And one more thing is I already told you, this knowledge is enough with respect to Spring JDBC. This is not going to use any real-time projects. The reason is what we are going to use in real-time projects, JPA module people are going to use in every real-time project. This knowledge is enough. And one more key thing, what you have to remember from this entire JDBC module, JDBC template. The entire thing is going around JDBC template. So everything is taken care by the JDBC template. As a developer, based on the requirement, identify the predefined method, pass your query, pass your values, you will get the result set also. And even they are converting result set also or not. Okay, so that's what you have to do in Spring JDBC point of view. Now let's start with the Spring JPA module, and it is very, very important, and it is bit different when comparing with the JDBC functionality. Okay, same database operations only, but the way you are going to write down the programming, the way you are going to discuss, I mean, what we are going to achieve, the database operations execution in JPA is completely different from JDBC. Okay, so we will try to understand everything step by step. Okay, so now let's start with the JPA module. Concentrate here. Yeah, Jai Surya, just wait 1 or 2 days, then you will get your answer for this question. Okay. Definitely there are advantages if you are using JPA when comparing with the JDBC. Okay. See, JPA is a module. JPA is not part of JDBC. Okay, Jai Surya, JPA is a separate module. JPA is not a concept inside the JDBC. JDBC is a module, JPA is a module. So completely different, JDBC and JPA. So don't feel like the JPA is concept of JDBC module. It's a module, one of the Spring database module. So is that clear? So it's a module, guys. It's a clear module, different module. Okay, so let's start here the discussion more about the JPA, and it will take minimum 10 classes. Okay, and more than 10 classes it will take, but we need to understand very clearly also. Okay, so before discussing about the entire things related to Spring Data, JPA and all, we have to understand first of all JPA. So we need to know about the JPA history, and then we will discuss about the Spring Data, JPA and everything. So here JPA represents Java or Jakarta Persistence API. Okay, so what is this? Earlier, the old name is, Java Persistence API. But nowadays, the Java, whatever the OpenJDK, some concepts are there. Okay, it's not programming related. So whatever the JDKs we are installing right nowadays. So there are two types of JDKs available nowadays. One is Oracle JDK. One more is OpenJDK. So kind of concepts are there. Simply they made Java JDKs or Java programming language of open source, and they given the Java software license to someone else. It's all business things related to Oracle company and all. We don't need to worry about it. So somehow nowadays you just identify what is the Jakarta and all. So it's a business things. They are having dealings with some other companies and all. So nowadays the Java is replacing with a name called as Jakarta Persistence API. Even our advanced Java level also, you are going to see the latest new package names as Jakarta, not Java. Java X. Earlier you used to see like Java X and all, but nowadays they are replacing with the Jakarta Persistence API. Jakarta word. So that is what. But now the latest name is Java or Jakarta? Jakarta Persistence API, latest one. So in your tutorials level or in your material level or wherever you are seeing, in case as a JPA, as Java Persistence API, feel it as what? Jakarta Persistence API. Or if you somewhere else you are seeing it as Jakarta Persistence API, it's nothing but what? Same only, JPA only. Okay. So now that's fine. But what is JPA here? It is who provided this JPA? We will try to understand. JPA is a specification. JPA is a specification to represent ORM functionalities JPA is a specification to represent ORM functionalities. So I will come back. What is the ORM and all? We will try to understand. And this specification okay. So this specification is released by Java team. It's all from the which language? From the actual Java language, whatever you have JEE, right? So Java Standard Edition, Java Enterprise Edition, right? So both belongs to the Java language or not? So this specification is also, the JPA is a concept from a third party company or from the same Java programming language? Yes, the JPA concept is clearly from the Java language only, the entire JPA concept. Okay, so it is released by the Java language team only, and this is all about a specification to represent ORM functionalities. Now, okay, this is again part of Java language that we will see later point of time. Fine. Now, what is the meaning of specification first? What is the meaning of specification? In a simple English terminology or English meaning, what is the meaning of specification? Kind of constraints, set of rules, right? Set of rules and constraints. Set of rules and constraints. So that means the specification I will give you again. This will explain us about set of rules and constraints to achieve a functionality. First, I will write down in a generic point of view, functionality. Okay, that means I have a functionality. I'm going to give that, you have to achieve that. I have an idea. So simply in a general, I have an idea and we have to implement that idea. Then you are going to get some functionality. You are going to get some benefit. You are going to get some result. So now, based on my idea, what I'm doing here it is, I'm not providing solution. I'm not providing implementation. So instead of that, what I'm doing here, based on my idea, I'm just giving a set of rules and regulations or constraints. And I'm telling you like, this is what my idea. So if you are following the set of rules and restrictions or constraints, whatever it is, if you have to follow these rules and regulations to implement my idea, then you are going to get this kind of benefits. Like that, I give you some set of rules and regulations. So simply, I provided you idea and I asked you, come back with solution. So everyone will come back with their own solution. Few people will write down their own solution. Some other person will write down his own solution, his own thought process and everything. But here clearly I am telling, don't go with your own implementations, your own solutions, your own ideas. Okay, to achieve this functionality, for my idea itself, I'm going to define some rules and regulations. You have to follow the rules and regulations. And based on that rules and regulations, you have to provide the implementation. At the end, you have to provide the implementation. But how? By following my rules and regulations. Whenever idea I was provided, at the same time, I provided some rules and regulations also. Based on my rules and regulations, you have to provide the implementation. So that is what the concept of specification here it is. So this will explain us about a set of rules and constraints to achieve a functionality. Achieve a functionality in the sense kind of implementation. So once you are providing implementation, then only we can achieve any functionality, right? So that is what the meaning of this specification. So that means, and again after that I used this specification is representing especially for which functionalities? ORM functionalities. Okay. Yeah, Madhavi, just let me come back word by word. Okay. So I'm coming to your statement only. I know that nobody knows about ORM. Okay. So you guys are clear with the specification in a general discussion point of view or meaning point of view. It's just like a set of rules and restrictions or constraints what you have to follow while implementing the solution. While implementing the solution, you have to follow set of rules and restrictions. Those set of rules and restrictions provided by whom? By the Java team in a perspective of Java persistence API. Here it is. So what is the meaning of API? Okay, now one person is asking, I thought you know that. JDBC API. What is the meaning of JDBC API? Now, Vimalesh, you don't know what is API? Then how you work with the JDBC API? What is Servlet API? What is the meaning of API? Now leave a word. You completed JDBC API, Servlet API. Out of JDBC API and Servlet API, what is the API? Predefined set of classes, interfaces, methods, or whatever packages stuff, right? Same thing here also. See, if there is a difference really, then I will only let you know. So my intention is everyone knows about the API because you already done with JDBC API, servlets API. That means predefined classes, predefined packages, predefined methods, all comes under the concept of API. Even one fine day I shown you what API documentation also. Before 2 weeks, I shown you how to refer your API documentations also. Then again, people are coming and asking API. Okay, so now anyway, so you guys are clear. Now let's come back to this rules and regulations. Okay, is given by the as part of JPA document or JPA specification or as a Java persistence API level to achieve what functionality finally? ORM functionalities. To achieve the ORM functionalities, here it is. Now here, what is the meaning of ORM? Here it is. So the entire JPA specification now is all about representing or achieving which functionalities? ORM functionalities. So now what is a ORM? Here it is. It stands for Object Relational Mapping. Okay, Object Relational Mapping. So now whatever the assignment I given you here, okay, here. So it's almost kind of same concept. That's why I given this assignment. You just try to complete today itself. But I will give you, meanwhile, the details about the object relational mapping under. Okay. So let's focus on now bit on the ORM. Okay. So now let's focus on the ORM. What is the real meaning of ORM? So what is the functionality of ORM functionalities? ORM mapping and all, we will try to understand object relational mapping. Then we will come back again to the JPA. First, we should get now clarification on the ORM concept. So let's come back here. What is the ORM and all? We will try to understand. Object okay. So give me a second. See, yesterday also one of the person got the offer in Infosys. Okay, he's earlier student. He got offer in Infosys. Okay, that means why I'm telling all these things is I know the situation is not that much good as expected, but sometimes people are getting the jobs when people are keeping consistent effort. Okay, yesterday only one person got the job in Infosys. Okay, so try to make sure utilizing your skills and everything. Keep consistency in your practice, trials, whatever it is, whatever the way you are having, try to explore. You have to define your own strategy. Okay, identifying the jobs, getting the jobs. It's not like someone else will give you all the information. You have to define always your own strategy. Identify the strategies. Whether you are maintaining what LinkedIn profiles, Naukri, updating the things, try to make sure updating the keywords always. What are the latest keywords are going to be provided in LinkedIn or maybe Naukri level. So you have to explore all these things. No one will come and no one will explain you all these things. Maybe in case if I given knowledge, I can give you 5-10 minutes. But 5-10 minutes knowledge is not enough to you to apply all these strategies to get a job. So you have to concentrate, you have to define your own strategies and all. Okay, people are getting the jobs, but not like earlier, like earlier people used to get very frequently, but nowadays it is happening very rarely. But still people are getting the jobs. Whoever is keeping their consistency. Okay, so sorry. Now let's come back to the ORM. So what is the object here? Where you heard about the object? In Java programming language. Java is a object-oriented programming language. So that means in Java programming language, we will do any functionality, we can execute any functionality, we can achieve any functionality with the help of object. Otherwise, there is no Java language, right? Fine. Now, anywhere else, are you guys heard about a word called as relational? Where? Yes, database, relation, RDBMS. Maybe people who are from the computer science background, they can hear this word, RDBMS, relational database management system, something that, right? So RDBMS is nothing but simply database. Okay, it's not again something else. The Oracle, SQL, MySQL, whatever you are using, right? These are all databases. So relational is representing what functionality? Now let's give Java, and it is all about database. And what is this? Mapping is a simple mapping. There is nothing to say. Now, what is the point here? It is somehow you are going to make sure the entire database functionalities, whatever we are going to achieve, whatever we have to achieve the database functionalities, it's all about we are going to make sure a mapping in between Java versus database. Okay, so Java versus database point of view, we are going to do some kind of mapping. We are going to enable some kind of mappings. And by using all these relations in between Java versus database point of view, we are going to perform the entire database operations. Okay, so I will give you a small idea right now itself how it is going to happen. So here, the actual concept of object relational mapping, here it is. Now, for example, if you take the database table, I have a table, same employee table I will take. I will do one thing. So I have a table called as employee table. Now, in our JDBC, if you want to get employee records, what you are doing? If it is JDBC API, and I given you a requirement like load employee information. So what you are doing then? So step by step, getting, okay, now give in only Spring point of view, Spring JDBC, leave about regular JDBC also. In Spring JDBC, maybe JDBC template, but inside the JDBC template query method, what you are doing? First of all, you should ready with the SQL query or not. So prepare SQL query. And then you will execute, you will pass that SQL query and you will execute that SQL query. You will execute that SQL query. And third, what you are doing once you are executing result set, you are mapping to the respective result set is mapping to the Java objects or not. See, list of object. Array list is also a Java object, right? Finally, it is also a Java object, right? So that means result set to Java objects, whether it is an employee, order, array list, whatever it is. Finally, result set is mapping to the Java object. So this is all we are doing in the JDBC, right? Now, when it comes to the JPA point of view, what JPA is saying here it is, select okay, so you are going to sending this SQL query to the database level and finally you are getting result back and as a result set and you are taking conversion of result set to the Java object point of view. If it is JDBC, even you guys are having most number of steps here, right? Getting the connection objects and everything. That's it. Fine. Now, when it comes to the JPA framework point of view, or when it comes to the ORM framework point of view, ORM functionality point of view, the idea of JPA specification here it is, or the idea of ORM functionality here it is, why as a Java developer or why at Java logic level, okay, we have to dependent on SQL language or SQL query to achieve database operations. So please understand this statement. Okay, so what is the point here it is? What is the idea behind JPA specification or ORM functionality here it is? Why as a Java developer or at Java logic level? So this is all Java logic or not? So finally this is entire Java programming language or not? So this overall, the Spring or whatever it is, Java programming or not? Spring language is also a Java language, whatever it is, right? See, that means JPA is going to use only along with the Spring. No, I will come back to that point also. I will clarify. So with respect to JPA, leave about Spring sometime. So why Java developer, even if you taken a pure JDBC point of view also, you need a SQL query or not? You have to write down. For example, if you given the requirement, add employee information, what is the query you will write down? Insert into employee, you will write down the query, you will write down the positional parameters, you will pass the values, you will execute the query, finally record will be inserted. Select query, update query, delete query. I given you a requirement like, okay, delete all the records from the table. Delete from table, you will write down, you will execute that query, right? So everywhere you need a SQL query or not. With respect to JDBC, without writing any SQL query, can you achieve any database operation from our Java language? No, right? So now JPA is saying like at Java logic level, as a Java developer, when you are defining the Java logics and all, why we have to depends on the SQL language or why we have to depends on the SQL query to achieve database operations. Database operations in the sense loading the data, deleting the data, updating the data, inserting data, whatever it is at tables level. Everything is representing database operations. So this is what their idea, this is what their question. So they are saying like instead of depending on the SQL language or writing in the SQL queries point of view, so what Java is what 100% object orient language, right? So they are claiming it as object is or Java is 100% object oriented language. Now, when you are writing 100% object oriented language, then why you are depending on the SQL language? So this query is really related to Java topics, Java language. It's purely related to SQL language. Now, Java JPA is saying like our Java team is getting an idea as a Java developer when he want to write down same kind of functionality. So see here, in case if a Java developer has to achieve a functionality of loading employee information, so generally what we will do, you will write down this query and you will execute this query, right? Now, as part of the ORM level, what these guys are saying, one of the scenario, I will take a couple of other scenarios also. Tomorrow also I will explain theory only. It's very important understanding first. Okay, scenario one is all about why Java developer or at Java logic level we need to depend on the SQL language. So their idea here it is now they are saying like you don't write any SQL language, okay, inside the Java language. So instead of that, what you have to do is make sure everything in Java object point of view. I mean, they will tell you how to create an object to achieve this JPA functionalities, ORM functionalities and all. They will give you some set of rules and regulations. That is what all about the JPA specification. That is what we are going to learn as part of our entire JPA module training level. That's what we'll take. the next 2 to 3 weeks classes. Okay. So now, on a theory point of view, we are discussing right now in a simple English, simple terminology. So what these guys are saying, just make sure, create an object, and from that object, give me, call a method for the purpose of loading employee information from employee table. So what Java is expecting here it is, when you are having employee table in the database, and whenever you want to achieve, okay, so whenever you want to load this information, this table is available at what? Database level or not? Maybe it is a Oracle or MySQL, whatever it is. So in the database level, your guys are having tables. And from the table, whenever you want to load the data, you are doing all these steps. But when it comes to JPA point of view, their thought process here it is, they are saying, you don't never ever write down SQL queries. Don't write any SQL query. Don't write down any SQL language. As a developer, Java developer, when you are implementing the Java logic, what they are saying is, you define some object. What object and all I will tell you, like the JPA is saying. Okay, JPA is saying like, you have to follow some rules and restrict, okay, some set of rules to define some objects. And by using those objects, what you have to say, you have to call one predefined methods or whatever methods. Then based on that method, I will take care of everything in the background. Okay, I will take care of everything in the background, and somehow I will connect it to the database, and I will execute select operation on the database level, and whatever the results that I got from the database, I will convert everything as a, again, what? Java objects, again as a Java objects. Okay, and I will give you finally what? The Java objects to you. So when you are sending request, I mean executing the things in the sense, it's all about sending or calling DB functionality. And once JPA is taking all these things internally, what JPA is saying, okay, on which table you are trying to make sure loading the information and all, for that you have to follow some set of rules and everything. Then finally, I will give you list of objects. Okay, list of objects which are representing table records, which are representing table records. So that means what they are saying in simple high level here it is, don't write down SQL language, don't depend on the SQL language. Inside the Java language, as a Java developer, when we are writing everything 100% object oriented solutions, why again you have to dependent on the SQL language? Okay, why you have to define SQL language inside the Java language? Let's remove entire SQL things, SQL language dependency inside the Java language, writing SQL inside the Java language level. Remove that concept. I will give you some set of rules and restrictions. If you follow those rules and guidelines, okay, I will take care of everything internally. You just need to pass me always everything as a object and respective Java object or Java methods level, you have to write down the program. So that means now JPA, now fine. Okay, you are for example, tomorrow I'll come back. You are going to create one object called as a repository, and you are calling a method called as find all, something. Okay, you will come back. You are simply calling this method. Find all in the sense select star from employee. Now, this is what one line you are going to write down your JPA functionality point of view. Then JPA will take care everything internally, loading all the information from the table called as employee, and it is going to give you everything as a list of objects to you. But at the same time, database is going to understand Java language. Okay, now JPA is saying like eliminate the SQL from the Java, eliminate SQL queries from the Java language, Java implementation, Java logic implementation level, eliminate the SQL implementation. Then, fine, that's fine. Somehow they are saying like they are going to give the rules. I mean, some objects, methods, and all predefined classes, predefined methods, predefined interfaces, or whatever it is. We will follow that. But at the same time, database is going to understand the Java language. No, right? So database cannot understand Java language. Database can understand which language? Only SQL language. It will understand always only select star from employee. It will never ever understand something like object name dot method name, call, load, find all. This kind of methods is going to understand by the database. No. So then how JPA is managing? So on a okay, we don't have much time, right? On a simple, I will tell you. I will take this example tomorrow also. So simple. Now JPA is saying like okay, on a high level, I'm telling you here. So now JPA is saying like, with respect to JPA functionality, write 100 percentage Java logics to perform which operations? Entire the database operations only. Okay, no SQL logic on a high level. Then, but at the same time, when you are connecting to the database, database will understand which language? SQL language. It will always understand query language. Okay. Then what JPA is saying, as a mediator, as an intermediator, in between, you just give me a call based on my rules and regulations. Okay, you just give me a call like this. Now what JPA is saying, based on some set of rules and regulations, whatever I will give you, based on that, call me this method. Okay, internally, I will take care of your Java call converted to SQL query. So this SQL query is converted again by whom? JPA framework. The JPA framework, what it is saying, as a developer, you don't write down any SQL query. When you want all the information from the table, give me a call something like object name dot method name. Okay, you don't write down any SQL query. Based on that, I will prepare SQL query, whatever the method you called me. Based on that, I will prepare SQL query, and finally I will send that SQL query to the database. So it's just working as a mediator, intermediator, as a converter or as a translator, whatever you can say in a simple terminology point of view. Tomorrow, you want to delete one employee information. You will write down generally delete from table where employee ID or some kind of queries we will write down. So here, now JPA framework is saying delete. Okay, so something we will come back this. Delete by employee ID 1. So this is what you have to call based on the JPA rules and regulations. Then what? Are you writing any delete query here now? Simply you are calling a simple Java method. It's 100% Java logic or not. So now this is going to give to the JPA framework. Now JPA framework internally understand based on this method. Okay, I need to delete a record from the employee table based on the employee ID. So what it will do internally? It will convert our method, Java method, to the, based on your Java method, internally what it is doing? It is preparing the SQL query. Delete from employee, where employee ID, I mean EID or whatever it is, simply ID equal to 1. So like that, internally it is preparing SQL query, and finally this SQL query is sending to the database. Now at database level, finally SQL queries are going or not? So this is what the entire JPA functionality or framework is going to do internally. So it's trying to say eliminating the SQL things from the Java logic level. So we will see. I will take a couple of use cases tomorrow also. Okay, in the same theory manner, if we are doing insert, still we are having pending to understand fully what is ORM functionality. Here it is. Now I will explain tomorrow. Then we will see slowly, step by step, the actual coding part in the JPA. But entire things is, this is what the overall picture is. Without writing SQL query, we can perform database operations by using JPA framework. So JPA framework is related to Spring. Is it a Spring concept? Is it a Spring framework concept? No. JPA is from our actual Java language only. By using advanced Java also, you can define your own JPA functionality. But Spring, I will come back that part. Okay. We will see that. Okay, let's connect on tomorrow. I will save it. Yeah, Nagaraj, you can try that, Nagaraj. Okay. So that